So today we are going to learn about the multi-dimensional list. As we know, the word multi means many. What we learn about list is only one dimension list. One dimension list. Just only one. Let's say I have one, and then I have two, and then I have three. So it is one dimensional list. We are going to look at into the details about two-dimensional list. What is two-dimensional list? So it can be mentioned as a list inside a list. And then we are going to learn about two-dimensional lists in a function. There are some operation and some examples. And we are going to look at some examples how to apply the multi-dimensional list. List in a list. Now, suppose we have a list of distance of big cities in Korea. So this is Seoul, Daegu, Busan, Gwangju. How to record the data in the program? I know, let's say Seoul. If I want to go to Seoul, then the distance is 0 because it is the same city. If I want to go from Seoul to Daegu, then the distance is 237 kilometers. If I want to go from Seoul to Busan, the distance is 320 kilometers. If I want to go from Seoul to Gwangju, then the distance is 267 kilometers. If I have this kind of matrix, I can say this is a matrix. If I have matrix, then it is easy to understand. But how to write this into the Python program? So the Python program will show you something like this one. We have a list. And inside the list, there will be another list. So the first list, here is the data with regard to Seoul. So this data is this list. The second list is the data from the second row. So we have this data. The third data or the third row is the data from this one. And the last data is from the row number 4. Then you know that we have a list and we have another list inside a list. We call this is a list inside a list. So we are going to learn two-dimensional list. So at the beginning, we will learn how to represent the data using two-dimensional list. And then we will learn how to access the element in a two-dimensional list using row and column index. So for example, I want to know what is the distance from Seoul to Busan. So Seoul to Busan is 320 kilometers. But how can I access this element? Okay, so we are going to learn this one. And then, we are going to program some common operation in two-dimensional list. For example, how to display the list, how to sum all the elements, how to find the minimum and the maximum of the elements, and how to do random sampling. Okay. So in industrial engineering, matrix is very important. So two-dimensionalist is very important in many kind of industries. So after we know those things, we are going to learn how to pass these two-dimensionalist into functions. So we are going to learn something about grading. And yeah, the Sudoku, I just give you the code, but I will not explain in detail. If you want to know the code about Sudoku, you can just look at the Sudoku code that I give to you. And I'm going to explain how we can apply to some real application with the two-dimensional list. Processing the two-dimensional list. Two-dimensional list means a list that consists of rows. So let's say I have a matrix like this one. So it is a list. In list, there is rows. There are rows. This is the first row. This is the second row. This is the third row. And this is the fourth row. Each row is a list that contains the value. So each row is a list that contains values. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is also a list contain value 5, 6, 0, and 1. Then we will have what we call as row index. It is to access the rows. And this is the column index to access the value in each row through another index. So if you understand the problem in the mid exam, so I give you the problem. If I give input number 6, then show 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, start. And then next line is 5, 4, 3, 2, start. So it means it is similar with the idea of two dimension. The first dimension is the row, and the second dimension is the column. So if you understand how to create this one, then you understand how to access the row and how to access the column. So in this case, this is the matrix. This is the first row. And we know that in a matrix or in the list, the index starts from 0. If the variable name is matrix, it means if I use the row index, matrix 0. What is matrix 0? The matrix 0 means the list in this row. So if I call matrix 0, then the result is 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I call matrix index 1, then the result is 5, 6, 0, 1. If I call matrix index 2, then the result is 0, 1, 1, 0. And if I call matrix index 3, it is 0, 0, 9, 8. If I want to access using row index and column index, so this is the row index, and these are column index. So if I have matrix with the square bracket 0 and another square bracket 0, it means This is the index of row, and this is the index of column. So I have the index 0 for the column, for the row, and index 0 for the column. So what is the value? The value is 1. So I can get 1. Now I'm trying to access the row index 3 and column index 3. So what is the value? Column row index 3. So this is row index 3 and the column index 3. Then the result is 8. Okay. What is matrix 2, 3? This is row index 2 and then column index 3. So what is the value here? It is 0. Okay. What about this one? Matrix 3, 2. So this is the row index 3 and then column index 2. Then the result is 9. Okay. So the question here, the result is 0, and the question is, the result is 9. Okay. Then my question, can we try to get matrix 4, 4? Is it possible to get a value in the matrix index row 4 and column index 4? It is not possible because the size that we have is until index 3. So there is no value at the index 4 of the column, and there is no value in the row index 4. Okay. So if you want to get the distance, show the distance. So this is the matrix, and then this is how we can represent the data. The question number 1, what is the distance from Seoul to other city? Then we can call the variable name, which is distances, and then Seoul. Okay, we know that Seoul is in the index 0. Then we just call index 0. Then the result will be this one. So the result will be all the data in the row index 0. What is the distance from Daegu to Busan? We can use distance is row index 1. This is representing Daegu, and then column index 2. This is representing Busan. Then the result will be 82. So what is the distance from Busan to Seoul? So what is the code? It is distances which index is Busan? We have Seoul as index 0. We have Daegu as index 1. we have Busan as index 2. Then the row index is 2. And what about the column index? The column index, Seoul. This is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3. Then I can just put the index 2. Okay. So we will get the distance from Busan to Seoul is 320. Okay. So this is how to access each of the element according to the index from the list. In Python, there are some ways to create the matrix. Okay. So let's look at the code. The code name is initial matrix in PyCharm. So let's create 3 multiplied by 3 matrix. So we have initial matrix. We have a matrix, and then we have a list, and inside the list we have another list. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 6, 7, 9, 1. Okay. So it is a list, it is another list, it is another list. Now I want to check matrix 0, 0. What is the result? Matrix index row 0 and column index 0. The result is 1. Okay. What about matrix 2, 1? The index row is 2, so it is 0, 1, 2. 0, 1, 2. Then the result is 9. Okay. The last one will be errors. Why? Why it is error? There is no index 4. Okay. Because we have only 1, 0, 1, 2. Okay. If you run this, okay, the first result is 1, the second result is 9, and the last will give you error message. The error message. Now you need to learn what is the error message. Okay? Because when you do your team project, when you try to write your code, there might be some errors, and you need to find out how to solve this error. So the error message is list index out of range, because the range of our data is only from 1, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So the number or the list index, which is 4, is out of range. So please understand whenever you do it, your code later on, maybe it is not easy to remember all the errors, but using this message, you can try to find out in Google or in any search engine. Okay. Now, there are some processing in the two-dimensional list. So we already look at the example, the previous example. We can initialize list, okay, and we can ask the user to input values, or we can initialize list using random values. We need to find out a way to print the list. So I want to sum all the elements, or I want to sum all the elements by column, or which row has the largest sum. We can do random shuffling. So let's look this processing one by one. Initializing list with input values. It means I want the user to give input for every element in the list. So let's look at the code in the initialize with input. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. So first, I would like to ask the users, enter the number of rows. Okay, I want to make 3 rows. And enter the number of columns. Okay, I want to have 2 columns. So using this information, I would like to make a matrix. So when the user enter 3, then there will be an element of 3. When I enter 2, then there will be an element 2. When I enter 5, the element is 5. When I enter 4, the next element is 4. When I enter 1, the element is 1. And when I enter 2, the element is 2. So this is because we already determined that there are 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay. Now, how shall we write the code? So this is the code. Now let's look at the code. We have initialize with input. Okay. So the code is the same with this one. Now let's look one by one. At the first line, we are going to create an empty list. Do you know empty list? This is a list without any content. And then I would like to ask the users, enter the number of rows. After I know the number of rows, I will put it into a variable number of rows. I have another question, enter the number of columns. So after I have the number of columns, I put it into the variable number of columns. So let's suppose I have 3 and 2. Then I will do the iteration. So the iteration will be starting from the index 0. Okay, we know that we want to have 3 rows. 3 rows, okay, then it means I will do from index 0, index 1, and then index 2. If we have index 0, 1, and 2, then it means the range will be from 0 until 3. Okay, so you already learned from the iteration. Next, when I have 1 row, or when I am in the first row, I would like to have another list. Append. Do you still remember append? Means I want to add a new element. But what is the element? I do not know the element. So I'm just creating a new empty list. So this is a new empty list or empty new. After I create this new row, I'm going to start from the column. So the column will start from 0 until the number of columns. So if we have 3 rows and 2 columns, so if it is 2, then the number of columns will start from 0 and then 1. The number of rows will start from index 0, 1, and 2. Okay. So you need to understand how this index works when we do for loops inside another for loops. After we have the second iteration, we ask the user to give value. So the value from the user will be in the variable value, and then we are going to input in the row. What is the row? So if we have index 0, index 1, index 2, index 0, index 1. At first, we will in the row index 0 and in the column index 0. So we have the matrix in the index 0 and append the value. So if I input 5, then 5 will be inserted here. After I finish this one, I will go to the next value of the column until the number of columns. Okay, I will go to the next index. Let's say I input a new value, 3. So I will input 3 into the matrix index 0. So I will input 3 here. Because we already finished with the column, then we return back to the row. How many rows do we have? We have 3. Because we just start from 0, now we go to the next row, which is 1. When it is 1, again, we create a new list. We create a new empty list. And after we have a new empty list, again, we will start the iteration from the column 0. So from column 0, let's wait the user input. Let's say the user give number 4. Then I'm going to append 4 into the matrix index 0. Now the matrix index 0, matrix index 1. So I'm going to input 4. We go to the next value. The number of columns is 2. Then I'm going to the next column. So let's wait for the user input. Let's say the user input is 2. Then I will input the value here, and so on. Okay. At the end, we are going to print the matrix. So if you run this, enter the number of rows. So I want to have 3 rows. And then I want to have 2 columns. Enter an element and press enter. So let's say 5, 3, 4, 2, 6, 9. Then we will have the matrix is a list, and then inside the list I have 2 elements of a list, 2 elements of a list, and another 2 elements of a list. Okay. So the first 2 is 5 and 3. The second 2 is 4 and 2. And the third 2 is 6 and 9. So if I want to create like this one, how can we create this one? It means Okay, you can try by yourself. So I'm going to create how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can create 4 rows. And then how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have 4 columns. And we need to insert the element from left to right, and then from left to right, left to right, left to right. So you can enter every of number 0, 2, 3, 7, 3, 2, 0, 2, 6, 7, and then the next is 2, 3, 7, 0, 82, 1, 7, 4, and then 3, 2, 0, 82, 0, 2, 0, 3, and then 2, 6, 7, 1, 7, 4, 2, 0, 3, and 0. And we will have the matrix. So this is the data that represent the distance between cities in Korea. Okay. So let's say I need to create a matrix, and the element of the matrix will be random values. So it is easier, yeah, because if the matrix is getting bigger and bigger, yeah, it is difficult to input one by one. So I want to just create a matrix and let's put random values. So you can use the put initialize with random values. Oh. Okay, so let's say I'm going to make a matrix with the number of row is 3 and the number of column is 3. Then so every element will be generated randomly. So if now the value is 3, 2, 5, 5, 4, 3, 1, 2, 7, then if you generate again, the result will be different because it is a random number. So the idea is still the same. Let's take a look on the code. So the first time we have import random. I think you remember we learned about this one in the chapter 5 or 6, how to generate random values. And then this is a statement to create an empty list. So we have a variable matrix with empty list. Now let's input the number of rows and let's input the number of columns. The idea is still the same with the previous one. We have two kind of iteration. The first iteration is for the row and the second iteration is for the column. And then I am going to append a new list for every row. And then for every column in the particular row, let's do the random value. So let's append the random value. The random value will be a random range between 0 until 100. So any value between 0 until 100 will be inserted into the matrix. So after we have this one, then let's print the matrix. So for example, enter the number of rows. I want to have 4. And then enter the number of columns. Let's say 4. Then using the random function, we can generate randomly this, and this. So we have 4 rows and we have 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I want to print the list. Printing list, it means I know the data is in the form of 2-dimensional list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how can I print one by one? Okay. Because maybe I want to check which element is the highest, which element is the smallest. Okay. So I want to print one by one from the left to the right. And then first we are starting from the top, left to right. And then go to the next from left to right. Go to the next from left. So we have another print which is 4, 5, 6. We have another print which is 7, 8, and 9. So the idea of printing is similar with the problems that you always try to solve it with the triangle. Okay. So it is using 4 inside another 4. We have a matrix. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let's assume a list is given. And then let's look at the row. How can we know the number of rows? The number of rows means we want to know the length of the matrix. Okay. So what is the length of the matrix? Let's see. We have print matrix. What is the meaning by length matrix? If we have the matrix means how many lists inside a list. So I want to know how many rows do we have in this matrix. But what about a column? So in a column, I want to know how many elements in the list of a list. So I would like to use the matrix of a particular row. Then I can print the matrix in the index of row and in the index of column. After I print this one, then I will do the space. If I finish with this for loop, then I will go to the new line, or I will go to the next line. Then if I run this, I will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So let me have a kind of, let me make a new file. Exercise. Okay, now I want to know the length of matrix, and I want to know the length of matrix 0. What is the result? The length of the matrix. So it is easier to look at like this one. So the length of the matrix is this is 3. What about the length of the matrix index 0? Matrix index 0 means this one. What is the length? We have 1, 2, 3. So it is also 3. Okay. Now, is it possible if I create something like this one? I have the matrix index 0 is 4 elements. The matrix index 3 is 5 elements. Is it possible? Of course, it is possible because list is flexible. Then in this case, if I want to print the length of the matrix 0, what is the length of this matrix 0? It is not 3, but it is 4. Okay. What about if I have length matrix index 1? Matrix index 1 means this one. So we have 1, 2, and 3. So it is 3. What about if I want to find the length of matrix index 2? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 5. Okay. So we have the result. It will be different for every row. And it depends on the length of every row. Okay. So that's why we can just use the length matrix, and then row is the variable. Okay. Now we are lucky. In this case, all the elements in the list are the same. But in the case of the element of the list are not the same, then we need to find a general way to know the size of the matrix. Okay. So this is the way to get the length of the matrix using the flow. Okay, let's have a break. I will continue after the break.